the day I asked Ernest Sheen for a divorce. It was the first snowfall of the year. Snowflakes fluttered down from the sky, melting as soon as they touched the ground. Just like the day I first saw him in high school. Ernest looked at me, a flicker of pain in his eyes. "Why?" he asked. But what was the point in asking why? 10 years had passed. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, I had always chased after him for the love in my heart. But we never truly stood side by side. The spot next to him seemed to have a lock on it. Even though we got married, no matter how hard I tried, I could never get close. He had given the key to that lock to someone else. The person he once loved deeply but with regret. This time, I was truly exhausted. Chapter 1. A month later, Ernest and I finalized our divorce. As I had expected, there was no arguing, no attempts to keep me. There were no disputes over the division of property. He even offered to give me the house he bought before our marriage. But I didn't take it. "I'll take what's mine, and what's not. I don't want," I told him. His hand paused midair, and after a moment, he only said one thing. "I just hope you have a better life from now on." I knew that maybe, deep down, he wanted to compensate me. We met in high school. I had a crush on him for 3 years, chased him for 3 years, and dated him for 3 years. But our marriage lasted a ridiculous year and a half. I once thought I could do it. I could heal his wounds, soothe his regrets, make him happy, and bring him joy. Loving someone is about hoping they can be happy, right? But I forgot one thing. His life's regrets do not include me. Chapter 2. The afternoon we received our divorce papers, it started snowing again, and I took a trip back to our high school. The students were just starting their winter break. I wanted to go inside and take a look around, but the security guard at the gate was a stubborn old man. Even after showing my alumni ID and offering to leave my ID card at the security office, he still wouldn't let me in. I sighed and walked to the low wall at the back gate of the school. I remembered there was a hidden dog hole there, but I wasn't sure if it was still there after all these years. To my surprise, not only was the hole still there, but it had also gotten bigger. I smiled to myself. It seemed that the current students weren't any more obedient than we were. Bending down, I crawled through the hole. The campus hadn't changed much, and it was almost empty. The snow-covered ground made it look like a secluded place, perfect for reminiscing. There was no one on the sports field. As I walked along the track, every step made a creaking sound. Looking back at the row of lonely footprints behind me, I seemed to see the me from 10 years ago. The cherry who wore a bunny-eared plush hat, stomping her feet and blowing on her hands to keep warm. The cherry who stared dreamily at Ernest on the basketball court. The cherry who fell in love with Ernest at first sight. Chapter 3. It seemed like everything started on that snowy day. If I hadn't sneaked out of the school through the dog hole during evening study to buy roasted sweet potatoes, I wouldn't have passed by the sports field on my way back. I wouldn't have been drawn by the cheers from the nearby basketball gym, and I wouldn't have met Ernest playing in a game. Back then, I was simple and bold. I skipped my first-year evening study session to watch a second-year basketball game, freezing as I stood at the entrance of the gym. After the game ended, while other girls scrambled to give Ernest warm water, I took a roasted sweet potato out of my pocket and handed it to him. He looked at me, half amused and half bemused. "Which class are you in? I don't think I know you." "First year, class 5, I said, my eyes sparkling. Cherry. Chapter 4. I fell in love with Ernest. I used all my available time to create chances to run into him. On the playground, the basketball court, in gym class, and at the water room. After a few encounters, he finally remembered me. Sweet Potato Jr.? What a coincidence. He greeted me with a smile in the water room. I nodded. "It's Cherry, not Sweet Potato." It wasn't a coincidence. Not at all. I had come here countless times before finally meeting him once. But he remembered me, and that made me very happy. But just when I was ready to confess my feelings to him, I heard some news. Ernest and Mika Lynn were together. This was big news across the entire school. Mika was a senior, not only the top of her grade but also beautiful, from a good family, and played the violin excellently. She was the perfect rich and pretty girl, a perfect couple, my classmates would say. That day, I quietly put away the love letter I had revised for a month, locked it in my drawer, and never went to the water room on the second floor again. But sometimes, when you desperately want to meet someone, you might never encounter them. When you desperately want to forget someone, you always seem to run into them, on the way to school, on the way home, at the school store, on the playground. I always saw him with Mika. They walked side by side. She smiled sweetly, and he looked proud. At the new terms award ceremony, as the top student from the previous exam, I sat on the podium with him and Mika, waiting for the school's commendation. Sweet Potato Jr., it's you? He still remembered me. I nodded. Hello, Senior. What does Sweet Potato Jr. mean? Mika leaned over and smiled. Do you have some secret with this junior that I don't know about? Of course not. He turned back and laughed. We met before. Just a joke. Cherry? Mika raised her eyebrows, looking at my badge. Few who rank first in freshman year keep it up till senior year. Don't slack off. Keep it up. She tilted her head and smiled. I nodded, not knowing then that I would continue to be entangled with these two for many years. When I was in college, I heard that Ernest and Mika broke up. Ernest's university was next to mine, and he remained a prominent figure, so I learned about his situation through my gossip-loving roommate. Her boyfriend was from the neighboring university and said a guy in his class was dumped by his girlfriend. I've seen that guy. Very handsome and gentle. I can't believe someone would dump him. My boyfriend said the guy and his girlfriend were very loving, even though she was a year older than him. Like in a drama, a beautiful couple known by many at their school. But after she went abroad for a summer exchange, she suddenly wanted to break up. How is he now? I asked softly. Not well. My roommate adjusted her glasses. I heard he drinks a lot. A few days later, one night, I found Ernest in a bar near our school. His eyes were red, and he was drunk. I sat across from him, watching him in pain. Senior, take care of yourself. He stared at me blankly, then suddenly laughed. Sweet Potato Jr.? He shook his head, his eyes reddening. No, you don't understand. You've never loved someone. Don't know how painful it is to lose them. I have nothing left. I have loved. I looked into his eyes. And you are not without anything. He looked at me with dazed eyes. Anyway, he wouldn't remember. I thought, might as well fulfill my own wish. Ernest, I like you, I said. He looked at me for a long time, then suddenly smiled. Don't comfort me, Sweet Potato Jr. That night, I helped him back to his dorm. His roommate looked at me with a mix of curiosity and complexity. The next day, he came to school to thank me. Thanks for taking me back to the dorm last night. But how did you find me? He asked. I smiled. I went in to buy a drink and saw someone familiar. Turned out to be you. He smiled. I see. But how could it have been a coincidence? I searched for 12 hours, through all the bars on that street, to find him. Who would go to a bar for a drink when there's a convenience store next door? After that, Ernest and I started to contact each other more. We added each other on WeChat, and when my roommate went out with her boyfriend, Ernest would come along. I knew he hadn't gotten over his breakup with Mika, so I always tried to make him happy. I still liked him, so whether he liked me or not, I just wanted him to be a bit happier. That's all. Maybe it was the long time we spent together, or maybe my presence filled the void in his heart. In our senior year, I got a good job offer on graduation night. He brought drinks to celebrate, and we both got drunk. The next morning, I woke up in his apartment bed. That day, he said, "Be my girlfriend, Cherry." I thought it would be the start of my happiness. The person I liked finally liked me back. For the next 3 years, I tried to be the perfect girlfriend. I never asked him, who is better, me or your ex-girlfriend? Because once during an argument, I mentioned Mika's name, and he walked out on me, ignoring me for a week. Her name became taboo. For him, I learned to cook because he had stomach problems and couldn't eat takeout. I got up an hour earlier to make his lunch. 3 years later, at Spring Festival, I took him home. My mom hinted at marriage, and he smiled and agreed but soon went out to smoke and then disappeared. My mom pulled my sleeve, asking what was going on, but I just shook my head, feeling a surge of bitterness. But I didn't expect that 2 hours later, he came back with roses and a ring, proposing to me in front of all my family and relatives. I thought we would walk together like this, get married, have children, grow old together, but I didn't expect that the day after we got our marriage certificate, Mika reappeared in our lives. Marrying Ernest wasn't the happy ending of this story, but the beginning of all the melodramatic entanglements. Chapter 5. The day after we got our marriage certificate was the 50th anniversary of our high school. Ernest and I were both top students in our respective years and received invitations to attend. The celebration was lively. In the auditorium, Ernest and I chatted with old classmates and teachers. Half an hour before the ceremony was set to begin, a commotion erupted from a nearby crowd. Someone had fainted. Ernest and I rushed over to help, but when he saw the person who had fainted, his face turned pale. It was Mika. I never thought that after all these years, I would run into Ernest's ex-girlfriend like this. Together with him, Mika lay on the ground, her face pale, and the teachers and alumni were in chaos. Someone was calling for an ambulance, while another suggested performing CPR. She has low blood sugar. Amidst the noise, Ernest suddenly spoke. Under everyone's gaze, he stepped forward and picked up the unconscious Mika in his arms. She had this problem in school too. I'll take her to the school nurse first. Ernest turned and walked away with Mika in his arms, and I suddenly felt like my feet were filled with lead, unable to move. It wasn't until someone gently patted me that I snapped out of it. Aren't you going to follow them? It was my old deskmate and friend. She nudged my arm and whispered, "Aren't you two married?" Those two had a thing back in the day. Don't think that just because you're married everything is fine. You have to keep an eye on men. I nodded woodenly, then finally lifted my feet and walked towards the school clinic. Chapter 6. As I approached the door of the clinic, Ernest's voice drifted out from inside. "Why did you pretend to faint?" I stopped in my tracks. There was a moment of silence inside. "Nothing. I'm leaving." "Ernie!" Mika's voice, tinged with tears, came with the sound of hurried footsteps and rustling clothes. "I didn't mean to. When I saw you, I couldn't control myself. I really did feel faint at the time. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." "Don't do this," Ernest said. "Let go. I know that no matter when, if I faint, you will always help me." "Ernie, in your heart." "Mika, we broke up a long time ago." The air was quiet for a long time. Yes. Everything is my own fault. But, she suddenly began to cry. "I never meant to hurt you back then. Ernie, that year my dad's business failed, and he owed a lot of money. That summer, I didn't go abroad for an exchange. I went abroad to hide them, but the creditors couldn't find my dad. So they came to find me. I couldn't stay in the country either. Those people threatened to kidnap everyone around me for ransom. I was afraid of implicating you, so I lied that I had fallen for someone else." "What did you say?" "Ernie, you had such a bright future ahead of you. I couldn't drag you down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt you. All these years, my family and I have been hiding everywhere. I married foreigners twice for money. They abused me, mistreated me, but all I wanted was to pay off those debts. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to pay off the debts and come back to see you from afar, to see you doing well. But when I saw you today, I realized how much I missed you. I couldn't control myself. With a clatter, the cup in my hand fell to the floor. The room went silent for a moment. Then the door suddenly opened. Ernest and I locked eyes. He no longer looked like the calm person I knew. He seemed like he did the night I helped his drunken self back to his dorm. Confused, pained, uncomfortable, and maybe empathetic. Mika followed him out and, seeing me, looked slightly surprised. The three of us stood there quietly, just like the time we all went on stage to receive our awards. Mika stood on Ernest's left, while I stood on the right. After a while, Ernest broke the silence. He pulled his left arm out of Mika's grasp, took a step forward, and held my hand, introducing me to Mika. "I haven't introduced you yet. This is my wife, Cherry." Chapter 7. On the way home from school, neither Ernest nor I spoke first. Deep down, I hoped he would take the initiative to explain, but he remained silent. Until the next morning, he suddenly told me that he had informed his family about our marriage last night and wanted me to go home with him to meet his parents. I didn't know if this was meant to reassure me. We had been dating for 3 years, yet even though we lived in the same city, he had never taken me to meet his parents. Even when we got our marriage certificate, it was after returning from my home that he directly took me to the civil affairs office. So, I went home with him. There were many relatives at his house, and his mother accepted their congratulations with a perfunctory smile, but she was clearly not very happy. After dinner, she called me into a room. To be honest, we have never been very supportive of Ernie dating you. We've learned a bit about your family's situation through Ernie. 3 sisters, 2 with only middle school diplomas, a father who is a contractor, and a mother who doesn't work. We don't mean to look down on you. Your family isn't poor, but starting from Ernest's grandfather, we've all been university graduates. Sometimes, matching family backgrounds is quite important. At the very least, the values of the 2 families should align. Like his previous girlfriend, we didn't interfere. She cleared her throat and sighed. But now that you 2 are married, there's nothing more to say. Just take good care of your family from now on. On the way home that night, Ernest asked me, "Did my mom say anything to you?" I shook my head. He was silent for a moment, then patted my head. "Don't mind what she says. She's used to being a leader, and her words can be harsh. Don't take them to heart. It's our life to live. It's our life to live." Maybe because Ernest rarely said sweet words to me, I believed this one and remembered it for a long, long time. Chapter 8. Some time passed after that. One day, Ernest left for work in a hurry and forgot to take his lunch. I wasn't too busy that day, so I took a moment in the morning to deliver it to him. When I arrived at his law firm, I saw Mika. She no longer looked as pitiful as she did in the school clinic that day. She wore a bright yellow blazer, looking vibrant, professional, and beautiful. Seeing me, her eyes showed no surprise. Instead, she walked towards me proactively. "Bringing lunch?" She smiled. "You're a great cook. The wontons you made were delicious." She shrugged. "I lived abroad for so many years. I can't cook. I envy people like you with such talent." Seeing her smile, I suddenly realized that Mika, rational as ever, was still the top student from high school. Just like when she warned me on the podium, "Few who rank first in freshman year keep it up till senior year." She could defeat an opponent with just one sentence. But she wasn't satisfied with just that. "There's a famous saying, right?" She smiled. "The way to a man's heart is through his stomach." That night, I had a big fight with Ernest. I questioned why Mika was at his law firm and why he gave her the wontons I made for him. "Ernest, what exactly do you take me for?" I shouted at the top of my lungs. "What am I to him? He was the one who wanted me as his girlfriend, the one who proposed to me. He was the one who didn't hesitate to pick up his ex-girlfriend in front of me, brought her to work, and gave her the wontons I made at 5:30 in the morning. He was the one who said, 'It's our life to live.'" That night, I vented a lot, but he just smoked silently. After 3 cigarettes, he sat beside me. Back then, she broke up with me on purpose to protect me. She didn't have a good life abroad. Now that she's back, she can't find a job. I misunderstood her for many years. I just want to help her now. She messed up her stomach abroad. That day at the office, she had a stomach ache and was sweating. She said she wanted wontons. "Since you brought me wontons that day, I gave her some." He took my hand. "Cherry, I'm just very confused." He rubbed his forehead in pain. "I never thought she broke up with me for such reasons. I never thought she had such a hard time these years. All these years, she's been my constant regret. I admit I haven't let her go. But now, I just want to make it up to her as much as I can. Cherry, I'm sorry. Give me some time to sort things out, and I'll draw a clear line with her. I won't have anything more with her. It's all in the past." He pressed his forehead against mine, speaking softly. "It's our life to live, isn't it?" "Yes, it's our life to live. But why do you keep bringing a third person into it?" After that night, everything seemed to return to normal. Ernest even came home from work more punctually than usual. One night, 2 months later, I returned from a business trip to find that a bottle of juice I had left in the fridge was missing. The juice was from a niche brand, limited edition, hard to get, and I loved it. That bottle in the fridge was the one I managed to get last time. Intended to drink on our wedding anniversary. Ernest never drank my juice. He only drank coffee and water. Maybe it was a woman's intuition, but I was compelled to walk to the dining table and pick up Ernest's cup. There was a faint lipstick mark on the rim. At that moment, Ernest came back. I didn't turn around. You brought her home? His movements stopped. Not only did you bring her home, you let her drink my juice and use your cup? Ernest was silent for a while, then walked over. That day, we went out to discuss a project. On the way back, she suddenly had low blood sugar. Since we were passing by home, I brought her up to rest. There was only that bottle of juice in the fridge. She doesn't like drinking directly from plastic bottles, so she grabbed a cup while I was washing my hands. She didn't know it was my cup. She didn't know? I laughed bitterly. There were only 2 cups on the table and a stack of disposable paper cups. Is she such a precious princess that she can't use plastic bottles or paper cups? She has to use your cup? Doesn't she drink water abroad? Or does she only drink from other people's husbands' cups abroad? Cherry, he said in a deep voice. Don't speak so harshly. Her life abroad wasn't what you think. I'm harsh. He said I was harsh. We had another fight that night. I had never been one to wrong myself. Except with him. I looked up to him, admired him, and turned myself into a humble clown. I went to the law firm to find Mika. In the stairwell, she stood with her arms crossed, eyebrows raised, looking at me. I drank it. I did it on purpose. But didn't he let me? You're destroying someone else's marriage. She laughed coldly. Sweet Potato Jr., do you not know how your marriage came about? When we were dating, you were already coveting Ernest in secret. After we broke up, you took advantage of his sadness and clung to him for years until he finally agreed to marry you. Do you really feel happy with such a relationship? Guarding someone whose heart belongs to someone else. Do you feel sweetness? Why don't you think about it? You've been with him for 7 years. I was with him for only 2. Yet when he sees me, he's still as good to me as he was 7 years ago. And I feel the same. She took a step closer. I love him. Always have. I resisted the urge to slap her. Why can you justify being a third party? Don't you have any shame? She smiled lightly. Do you not know who the real third party is? She took a step forward and whispered in my ear. In terms of who came first, it was me, and in his heart, I never left. Don't you know that? Do you want to bet? I looked up, meeting her eyes. Suddenly, she reached out and slapped herself. Her right cheek quickly swelled, but she smiled. Guess. Who will he believe? You or me? Chapter 9. That night, Ernest came home an hour late. I told Mika to leave early and take a few days off from the firm. He said, looking at me calmly, next time, don't be so impulsive. I stared at him silently. It turned out that I never had a chance to defend myself. He had already decided I was guilty after listening to her. I told you I didn't hit her, that she hit herself. Do you believe me? He didn't say anything, but his silence spoke volumes. I laughed. Cherry. He took my hand. Don't do this again. Don't go looking for her anymore. I shook off his hand and sneered. Why can't I look for her? Are you afraid I'll hit her again? I curled my lips. You care so much about her. Can't bear to see her hurt. But isn't it right for her to suffer a little for destroying my family? Cherry! Ernest! I yelled with all my might. He stood there, stunned. Let's get a divorce. Chapter 10. As my thoughts returned to the present, snow began to fall again. On the day I asked for a divorce, he looked at me with a pained expression and asked why. But was there any need for a why? When he chose to unconditionally believe Mika over me, when he wavered in his decision between the 3 of us, it should have ended. I was tired. I was no longer the girl who hid her emotions to make him happy. I wanted to be loved too. I wanted love to be reciprocated. To have someone care for me, to believe in me unconditionally, to love me. He asked me to be his girlfriend, asked me to marry him, but never once said I love you. He would call me Cherry, jokingly call me Sweet Potato Jr., but never once called me wife. I was really, really tired. I couldn't love him anymore. Looking back, the footprints we left were covered by fresh snow. Everything was quiet as if bidding farewell, pure as a new beginning. Chapter 11. 2 weeks after the divorce, I saw Ernest again. That day, I was at work when my phone suddenly rang. It was the hospital, saying that Mrs. Cheen had an accident in front of my house. Are you her daughter-in-law? The old lady's phone doesn't have enough money, and she doesn't have cash. She needs various tests done. So please come over. It turned out that Mrs. Cheen didn't know about my divorce from Ernest yet. She had the keys to our house and came over to deliver some beef. She got scared by a neighbor's dog as soon as she got off the elevator, fell down the stairs, and was sent to the hospital. I called Ernest, but he didn't answer. So I went to the hospital and accompanied Mrs. Cheen for all the necessary tests. The results showed a fracture, and she needed to stay in the hospital for a few days. Just as I finished all the paperwork, Ernest arrived. Is everything okay? He asked, slightly out of breath. Mrs. Cheen shook her head. I'm fine. Cherry took care of everything. She sighed. I'm really getting old. Getting scared by a dog and falling like this, since Cherry hasn't been coming over on weekends lately. I was worried you two were too busy. So the housekeeper made some braised beef, and I thought I'd bring some over. Then she suddenly turned to me. Why haven't you been coming to visit us lately? I froze for a moment. It's true. For the past year and a half, I visited every weekend. Saturdays, I would visit my mother. Sundays, I would visit Ernest's parents. If Ernest didn't have time, I would go alone. I would bring homemade wontons and dumplings and spend time playing chess and chatting with them. I joined the Go Club in college, and Mr. Cheen loved playing chess with me. My job was in marketing planning, and Mrs. Cheen was a former business executive. We would discuss various news topics together. I didn't want Ernest to be caught between me and his parents. So even though he said it wasn't necessary, I made an effort to improve my relationship with them. I knew that elderly people could be quite lonely, but the irony is that even those who initially didn't like me ended up liking me. While I could never warm the heart of my beloved husband, we've been a bit busy lately. Ernest interrupted me. I turned to look at him, and Mrs. Cheen quickly said, well, you two focus on your work. We're retired and have more free time. Just come by when you can. But take care of yourselves too. She held my hand. Don't tire yourself out. Let Ernest take better care of you. You've gotten so thin, and you should consider having kids soon. It's not a rush, but the sooner the better for recovery. When the time comes, I'll find a good postpartum center for Cherry. I didn't know how to respond to this. Ernest said, got it, Mom. We'll consider it. As we left the hospital room together, I immediately saw Mika standing at the door. No wonder he didn't answer the phone. He was with Mika. Ernie, is Auntie okay? She asked. Ernest nodded. I'll go in and see her then. But Ernest stopped her. Maybe another time. My mom is tired. Mika was taken aback but quickly smiled. You're right. She needs her rest. Then she turned to me, acting like the host. Thanks for your help today, Xiao Lu. I took a stack of papers from my bag and handed them to Ernest. These are all the receipts. The x-rays are in the room. Also, I paused. It's time to tell them about our divorce. Ernest took the papers. Thanks for today, he then explained. I was helping her find a new job, so we were together today. When I got the call, I rushed over with her. Mika's face turned sour. I turned to leave, but Ernest suddenly grabbed me. It's snowing outside, and it's hard to get a cab here. Let me drive you back to work. No need. Last time it snowed, you caught a cold and had a fever. I looked up at him, not understanding what he was trying to do. But at that moment, Mika suddenly let out a soft ah. Both Ernest and I turned to look. Mika was leaning weakly against the wall, sliding down to the floor. Ernest walked over. What's wrong? Mika weakly gasped. I suddenly feel so dizzy. Do you have any sugar with you? No, don't worry. I'll get a doctor. Mika weakly clung to Ernest's shoulder, her eyes meeting mine with the same look as that day. She seemed to be saying, "See, no matter what happens, he will always choose me." But I no longer cared. I turned and left the hospital. Just as I reached the door, my sister Barbara called. Chapter 12. When I arrived at the bus station, I saw my sister. She stood among the crowd, her long curly hair covered in snowflakes, her makeup more exquisite than mine, but her face showed an exhaustion she couldn't hide. "Sis, I have nothing left." Those were her first words to me. I have two younger sisters. Griselda, the middle one, worked in a factory for a while, then got married and stayed home. But Barbara, the youngest, was naturally rebellious. She didn't like studying and always wanted to start her own business. She graduated from junior high and went to a vocational school, but dropped out before getting her diploma to work in the South with her boyfriend, Kyle. They started as restaurant waitstaff, gained some experience, and eventually opened a snack bar together. Barbara managed the day-to-day operations while Kyle handled the finances. Last year, they both came home for the holidays, boasting about their successful business and how their annual income was much higher than my salary. This year, the business expanded, and we hired a new accountant. Kyle got involved with her, manipulated the accounts, and kicked me out. She broke down, collapsing into my arms. "Sis, I never doubted him. How could he do this to me just because I didn't understand the accounts?" "Sis," I hugged her tightly, gently patting her back. "It's okay. You can stay with me for now." "I don't want to stay with you." She wiped her tears. "It's inconvenient with your husband there. I don't want to trouble you both." I stroked her hair. "It's okay. I'm not staying there anymore. I have something to tell you too." Chapter 13. Bastards. All bastards. Sitting on the bed in the rented room, my sister cried and cursed. I held her gently. "No, no, I can't let these bastards get away with it." She suddenly broke free from my embrace, jumped off the bed, and ran to the kitchen. "What are you doing?" "I'm looking for a knife." She grabbed a knife with trembling hands. "I'm going to kill Kyle. I'm going to kill those scumbags." "Barbara." I grabbed the knife from her. "Get a grip. Are you going to ruin your precious life for a scumbag?" She stared at me blankly and then collapsed on the floor, crying. "But I can't stand it. Sis, I can't stand it. Why is it that our lives are always so hard?" "Barbara, life isn't about being hard or easy. All the results I have now, good or bad, are because of my own choices. I never believe in fate. Life is in our own hands." I knelt in front of her and gently hugged her. "You just realized early on that he was a scumbag and cut your losses in time. It's not such a bad thing. You can always make more money, and every setback is a lesson learned. You'll have many opportunities to earn money in the future. We are not alone. You have me. I have you. And we have Mom. And our other sister." She lifted her head and burst into tears. That night, she cried a lot. But the next morning, despite her swollen eyes, she put on her makeup. "Sis, you're right. No matter what, I need to take care of myself." I nodded. "How much money do you have left?" She sighed. "I managed to get back 300,000 yuan. The rest was taken by those two bastards. I'll give you some money to start a new business here." She opened her eyes wide. "What?" "In the beginning, you'll be full-time, and I'll be part-time. We'll see how it goes later." "Sis, are you serious?" "Yes." I smiled. "We'll start from scratch again. Besides, opening my own shop has always been my dream. But I have one condition. At the beginning, I'll handle the accounts. But you need to learn too. You can't just sit back and do nothing." She was silent for a moment and then hugged me tightly. "Thank you, sis." Chapter 14. After discussing it, we decided to open a skewer's shop, choosing the location, paying the rent, getting all the licenses, decorating. After going through all the processes, the shop was finally ready to open, but the first day was a bit quiet. My sister said it was normal. As long as the food was good and the service was excellent, we would slowly get repeat customers. That night, as we stood at the cash register counting the first day's revenue, a man walked in. "Excuse me, do you sell skewers here?" I looked up and saw a quite handsome man wearing a baseball jacket and carrying a black laptop bag. He looked like a university student. Yes. My sister quickly went to greet him. After ordering, he sat down and opened his laptop on the table. Sis, my sister whispered to me, does he think this is a cafe? It doesn't matter. I smiled. The table is empty anyway. With only him as a customer, my sister and I continued counting the revenue and discussing future business strategies. Suddenly, a pleasant male voice interrupted. Have you considered an online model? We both looked at him in surprise. He smiled apologetically. Sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but it's really quiet in here. So, I'm a programmer and just developed a food app. If you're interested, I could create a small promotion program for you. I walked over. What's your name, sir? He stood up and shook my hand. Richard. My sister walked over. How old are you? A student? 28. Wow, my sister exclaimed. You look so young. I thought for a moment and asked, but why are you interested in helping us create an app when there are so many shops on the street? He thought for a moment. It's fate, I guess, because I walked in here, and because your skewers are delicious. Besides, I will charge a small fee. He showed us his resume, and we found out that he worked for a well-known local internet company. At the bottom of his resume were various awards that we couldn't understand. That night, the three of us, in a shop of less than 20 square meters, gathered around Richard's laptop and discussed for half the night. Much later, I found out that that night was the darkest day in Richard's 28-year-old life. Chapter 15. The next time I saw Ernest was the day after the opening. After work, I went to the skewer shop and found Ernest sitting inside. He said he has something to tell you. My sister pulled me aside and whispered. I tried cursing at him to make him leave, but he wouldn't budge. I walked over and sat opposite him. How have you been? He asked. Not bad. Pretty busy. The air was silent for a while. Then he suddenly said, I won't be with Mika. I've made things clear with her. I was taken aback. That's no longer my concern, I said with a smile. He shook his head. Cherry, you've been avoiding my calls. Can you give me some time for us to talk alone? I shook my head. We're divorced. There's no need. These days, I've thought carefully about everything since Mika returned. It was my fault. My guilt for not setting boundaries with her. He said slowly. But now, the door chimed open. I'm starving. Richard walked in with his laptop on his back. When he saw me, he waved and smiled. Hi, Cherry. You're off work early today. He walked over and was surprised to see Ernest. Do you have company? I shook my head. No, just ran into an old acquaintance. Let's continue our discussion. Ernest's face darkened. I got up and moved to another table with Richard to continue our discussion about the app. Richard was actually quite humorous. After a while, I couldn't stand it and said, Can you stop making me laugh? I can't take it. You should be grateful. He chuckled. Others have to pay to hear my stand-up. You don't seem like a programmer at all. Why? Because I'm handsome, not bald, and don't wear checkered shirts. Are you discriminating against me, Cherry? I couldn't stop laughing. When I turned my head, I realized that Ernest had left without my noticing. Chapter 16. I thought Ernest wouldn't come back, but from that day on, he came to the shop every day to wait for me after work. Ernest, I've told you, there's nothing to discuss, and I'm really busy. I don't have time. It's okay, I'll wait, he said, until you have time. On my birthday, the shop received a package. It was a box of my favorite juice. 20 bottles in total. This juice is so hard to get, the kitchen lady exclaimed. My daughter loves it, but we can never buy it. I've never seen it sold by the case before. Did the sender buy it one by one? Later, he started bringing meals. If you eat skewers every night, your stomach won't take it. He texted me. I made these myself. The wontons are made using the method you taught me, though they're not as good as yours. There was a note in the bag. It read, Don't overwork yourself. It felt like everything had turned upside down. What's with him? My sister rested her chin on her hand. Is he having a split personality? Or did he break up with his unforgettable first love and now wants to remarry? I shook my head and gave the food to the kitchen helpers. It's okay, I said calmly. He's just not used to it. He'll give up after a while. Chapter 17. Unexpectedly, within a few days, something happened. It was 9 o'clock in the evening. There were no customers in the shop. Richard was working overtime, and only I, my sister, and a female chef were there. Suddenly, a man burst in. Barbara, you bitch. Give me back the 300,000. It was Kyle. What are you talking about? The 300,000 was rightfully mine. Kyle, have you no shame? That was my money. You stole it when you left. Kyle shouted, suddenly picking up a chair and smashing it on the floor. You and that woman are both no good. She took all my money and ran away with someone else. And you are the same. No, you're different. You still have the 300,000. Give it to me. I need to pay off my debts. Barbara, this is our debt. Saying this, he started to rush over. I stood in front of my sister and signaled the kitchen lady to call the police. Kyle, get out! But it was no use. The disparity in strength between men and women was too great. Kyle, unable to grab Barbara, simply swung the chair at me. Give me the money! Give me the money! There was no time to dodge. I protected Barbara tightly under me. Just then, with a loud crash, a tall figure shielded Barbara and me, taking the heavy blow. Richard! I screamed. Richard struggled to get up, holding his arm, and said to Kyle, I've already called the police. They'll be here soon. If you leave now, you still have a chance. The sound of sirens could be heard in the distance. Kyle stomped his foot and ran out the door. Barbara, I'll be back. The store was in chaos. Richard helped my sister and me up. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a large, purple bruise. Shocking to see. I quickly took out the store's first aid kit to give him basic treatment. Don't worry about me, he said, holding my hand. Your arm is scratched. Let me treat you first. He gently took a cotton swab, dipped it in iodine, and applied it to my wound. As I turned my head, I saw Ernest's car just parking by the roadside through the window. He got out of the car, and our eyes met through the glass. Who hurt you? He rushed in. Seeing my wound, his eyes darkened. It's nothing. I shook my head. It's none of your business. We're closing soon. You should go. Cherry! Ernest. I closed my eyes. I'm very tired today. Please, just leave. When I opened my eyes again, Ernest had already gone. Richard suddenly spoke. Is he your ex-husband? I nodded. Yes. No wonder. He laughed. Every time we meet, it feels like his eyes are going to kill me. Chapter 18. For the next few days, my sister was very anxious. One day, she came to me, pale-faced. Sis, it's over. I think I made a mistake. I took her phone. The video was blurry, showing someone hitting another person. The one being hit was Kyle, and the one hitting him was Ernest? But how could he do such a thing? And how did he know? It was me. My sister bit her lip. You weren't answering your phone, so he came to ask me. I told him without thinking. What should we do? Kyle sent a video saying we should get Ernest to give him 300,000, or he would make the video public and ruin Ernest's career as a lawyer. I shook my head. Ernest wouldn't act so recklessly. Don't reply to him yet. I'll go find Ernest. I took the video and went to Ernest's law office. Did you hit Kyle? I asked him. He said yes. There were still marks on his face. You have a way to protect yourself, right? He paused and asked. Cherry, are you worried about me? I just don't want to owe you anything. He laughed. If owing me a favor means you'll talk to me more, then I hope you owe me forever and never repay. This matter was initiated by him. Don't worry. I have a plan. He's legally ignorant, but I'm not. This video can be used in court. Adding a charge of extortion. I looked at him for a while. Yes, he has always been an excellent lawyer, meticulous in his thoughts. This matter was probably his plan all along. He not only hit Kyle but also intended to send him to jail. Such a person would see through Mika's poor acting every time she pretended to faint, right? Indeed, perhaps only love can blind someone. Ernest, you don't need to go to such lengths for me. He shook his head. Besides you, no one else is worth it. Chapter 19. Later. Kyle never came back and never sent any more harassing messages to my sister. The night Ernest came to the shop, my sister let the chef leave early and took Richard out with her. It was just the two of us left in the shop. How's business? He asked, sitting across from me. Not great. As you can see, after 8 in the evening, there's usually no one. I'll come pick you up from now on, he suddenly said. I stared at him in surprise. 10 o'clock is too late. Even though the security here is pretty good, it's safer if I pick you up. I looked at his phone on the table. It kept flashing. Aren't you going to answer? I asked. He shook his head and turned it off. But the next moment, the shop door opened, and Mika rushed in. I didn't know how long she had been standing outside. Ernest, why didn't you answer my calls? She asked, eyes red. Ernest replied calmly. We've already talked this through. Talked what through? Mika shouted. Can love be talked through? Our feelings for so many years, can that be talked through? All these years, she was just a substitute to fill the gap. You're just trying to deceive yourself now. She then looked at me. Do you think he likes you? That he regrets divorcing you? It's just that you've been such a simp all these years that he felt moved. Is this love? Cherry? Think about it. Is this love? What is love? After all these years apart, he still can't help but care for me, protect me. That's love. And you are just. Slap. I hit Mika's face. I said it before. I didn't hit you last time, and I won't admit to it. If I hit you, it would be openly. You. She raised her hand to hit back. That's enough. Her wrist was suddenly grabbed by Ernest. Enough. In the end, Mika left crying. I suddenly felt so tired. You should leave too, I told Ernest. I want to be alone. Chapter 20. I didn't expect that Mika would immediately start her revenge on me. Perhaps losing something again after regaining it drives a person crazy. A few days later, 2 people suddenly revealed online that they had found black foreign objects in their takeout from our shop and had gotten acute gastroenteritis. Although we are just a small shop, this topic shot up to the top of the local trending list. Based on the time described in the posts, we checked the surveillance footage and identified the people who ordered takeout during that period. Besides a few regulars, there were Mika and another girl. I knew that girl. She was a senior from Mika's high school class. Sis, what does she mean by this? Should we ask Ernest for help? He's a lawyer, isn't he? I shook my head. Mika isn't stupid. She could have hired someone to do this without exposing herself. But she chose to come personally. It was like a declaration of war. Cherry. Yes. It was me. Let's see whose side Ernest will take. Chapter 21. I didn't go to Ernest. Instead, I went to find that senior with Richard and my sister. There's no point in talking to me, she said, opening the door slightly. Your food has safety issues. If you don't apologize and compensate, I won't delete the posts. A baby's cry came from inside the house. Sorry. I need to feed my baby. She started to close the door, and through the gap, I saw a can of formula on the table. Senior, are you breastfeeding? I asked. She hesitated but answered. I do mixed feeding. Then you wouldn't eat the skewers from our shop. What? I'm very familiar with that brand of formula you have. My younger sister's child uses that brand. It's specifically for children who are prone to allergies. If you're doing mixed feeding, you would be very careful with your diet. You wouldn't eat overly salty, spicy, or heavily seasoned foods because any one of those seasonings could cause your baby to have an allergic reaction. Her face turned pale. You must be a good mother, I said softly. I understand that sometimes people have unspeakable difficulties, but I think you wouldn't want your child to know in the future that you once caused a shop to go bankrupt and destroyed the dreams of innocent people because of false accusations. Chapter 22. The senior admitted that Mika had asked her to do it. I'm sorry, but I need the money, she said softly. I'm raising my child alone and can't work. I really need the money. The 3 of us exchanged looks. Richard stepped forward. If you want to work from home, we have a position for an online promotion specialist at our shop. There's no fixed working hours. You just need to complete the daily tasks. You can work during your available time. When we returned to the shop together, Ernest was waiting at the door. Seeing me, he walked over. My sister and Richard glanced at me and then left. I've had the posts taken care of. This matter, I won't let Mika get away with this. I interrupted. He was taken aback. What? Ernest, I know why you're here. You know this involves Mika, and you want me to let it go, right? I shook my head. The senior has agreed to post a clarification, and our official account will also post about the incident's details. Mika isn't a child. She's an adult. Adults have to take responsibility for their actions. The damage of online harassment is terrifying. One person, together with another, fabricating lies, can ruin all our hard work. I stared into Ernest's eyes. This shop isn't just mine. It's Barbara's and Richard's too. You've met Barbara's boyfriend, and you know what she's been through. Do you know she wakes up at 4:30 every morning for this shop? Do you know Richard often works late into the night? I won't let her petty grievances ruin our hard-earned success. Until Mika publicly apologizes to us, like the senior did, we will not forgive or delete the posts. You can use your lawyer resources to help her, but we will not back down. The air was quiet for a long time. Ernest stepped forward lightly. I'm not here to ask for your forgiveness for her, he said softly. She made a mistake and should face the consequences. I paused. If that's what you think, then thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. Can't I just be here to care for you? He suddenly grabbed me. I just want to help you resolve this matter quickly. I don't need your help. We will handle it, I said softly. Cherry. Ernest, stop this. I shook off his hand. You're acting like a regretful jerk after a divorce. I am, he said. What? A regretful jerk after the divorce. I stared at him for a long while and suddenly laughed, tears streaming down my face. What are you talking about? Are you going to tell me that after our divorce, you realized you couldn't live without me? That you love me? That I'm your true love? I couldn't stop laughing, and tears ran down my cheeks. It was really funny. Yes, he said, looking at me intently. I love you. I regret letting you go so easily during the divorce. I thought it would spare you pain in our relationship, but after you left, I realized. Smack. I slapped him across the face. Ernest, you really are a jerk. I wiped my face. Don't appear in front of me again. Chapter 23. That night, Ernest stood outside my apartment building. My sister stood beside me, looking out the window, and said softly, Sis, to be fair, he did help a lot in getting those posts removed quickly, and with what happened with Kyle last time. At midnight, my phone suddenly rang. It was Griselda. Sis, hurry back. Mom suddenly fell ill. It's serious. What should I do? What should I do? Griselda was crying frantically on the phone. My sister and I hurriedly got dressed and rushed downstairs. But my home is more than 150 kilometers away. And at this hour, there were few cars around. We couldn't get a ride. I didn't expect Ernest to still be downstairs. What happened? He extinguished his cigarette and quickly came over. What's wrong? Mom's health had always been good, but for some reason, she suddenly collapsed. Griselda discovered her unconscious in the bathroom while getting up to feed the baby. I'll take you there. Don't worry. As we sat in the car, I couldn't stop shaking. A warm hand suddenly covered my icy hand. It'll be okay, Ernest said, keeping his eyes on the road. His hand was warm. Don't be afraid. When we arrived at the county hospital, Griselda was sitting in the hallway holding the baby. When she saw us, tears welled up in her eyes again. The doctor said it's an acute condition. They don't know the cause yet, but it's very dangerous. If she makes it through the night, don't be scared. I hugged her, though I was scared myself. You take Joe home first. We'll stay here. Luckily, Mom pulled through that night. She needed at least a week of hospitalization for further treatment. Mom didn't want a caregiver. She wasn't used to having strangers around. The three of us sisters took turns caring for her. Although I told Ernest to go back, he never left. Neither my second sister nor Mom knew about my divorce. One day, the woman in the next bed suddenly asked Mom enviously, "That young man helping out, Is he your son? Mom proudly said he was her son-in-law. She smiled and took my hand, telling the woman in the next bed, I have 3 daughters. My eldest has always been the least worrisome. She was always top of her class and got a good job and a good husband. The woman in the next bed said, Yes. He seems like a good young man, very handsome, and he takes good care of you. If I didn't know better, I'd think he was your son. Your daughter is very lucky. A week later, when Mom was discharged, she didn't want to leave home to live with me, so we took her back home. You two should go back to work, she urged Ernest and me. I'm fine now. Don't let me delay your work. Your sister is here to help. After Mom fell asleep, my second sister and I sat on the steps outside the house, chatting. Sis, it's a good thing you two came back that night. I wouldn't have known what to do with Joe by myself. Will your husband come back? I finally asked after so many days. She hesitated and shook her head. Sis, he and I are just using each other. His family needed money, and Dad needed a son-in-law. She smiled bitterly. I've always felt like I haven't contributed much to the family. You were good at studying, and our younger sister is independent and has her own ideas. But I've always felt lost. In school, I wanted to study hard but couldn't understand anything. I made mistakes at the factory. She laughed. I know you always opposed my marriage to him and the idea of a live-in son-in-law. But sis, it was the only way I felt I could contribute to the family. But then, Dad had a son. My dad had always worked as a contractor away from home. 2 years ago, he got involved with a woman who cooked at the construction site. Ironically, she actually gave him a son in his later years. Having a son had always been his obsession. Before I married Ernest, he had already divorced my mom and quickly started a new family over there. Maybe that's why Mom especially liked Ernest back then, because his family was well educated. She thought I wouldn't be bullied by my in-laws over having a son or daughter. Unlike her. As for Griselda's husband, after moving into our house and having a child, my dad took him out to work with him. Except for regularly sending money back home, he hardly ever returned. I know he has a woman out there, Griselda suddenly said. You know, but you still don't want to divorce him? I asked after a long silence. No, there's a child, and that's just how life is. She smiled. Not every man is as good as Ernest. Even if I found another, it would be the same, and I like staying home now. It's not tiring, and I'm not bullied by factory workers. I don't want to strive for more. I'll just live like this. The moonlight was beautiful. I looked up. Maybe you could try living differently. Too tiring. I don't want to. I took out my phone to transfer her some money, but she refused. Sis, I don't need your money. He sends me living expenses every month, and Dad sends money to Mom every month as per their divorce agreement. We're not short of money. You and Ernest should be happy together. He's really a good man, the best I've ever seen. At that moment, Ernest walked in through the gate. Seeing him, Griselda suddenly stood up with a smile. Look at me. I almost forgot something important. She ran into my old room and came back with an envelope. Ernest, do you know what I found when I was cleaning my sister's room? Ernest looked puzzled. A love letter. She laughed. My sister wrote you a love letter in her first year of high school. It was indeed that love letter, the one I wrote in my naive youth, admiring him from afar, but never sent. Ernest took the letter, and his hands seemed to tremble. I also know my sister's little secret. Back then, she tried to create chances to run into you by going to the second-floor water room to fetch water every day. But she never told me if she succeeded. So, did she ever meet you there? Ernest, holding the letter, seemed to be trembling all over. Yes, he said. We met there several times. Griselda laughed and then suddenly hugged me. Sis, she whispered in my ear. I'm sorry. I did it on purpose. I wanted him to cherish you more. Sis, you must be happy. Always happy. I gently hugged her back, feeling a sting in my eyes. Chapter 24. On the way back. My sister suddenly said she was too tired and wanted to stay at home for a few days before returning. The 3 of them watched as Ernest and I got into his car together. As the car drove away, I said to Ernest, "Drop me off at the next long-distance bus station." He was silent for a moment, Do I not even have the right to give you a ride anymore? At that moment, my phone buzzed with a message. It was from my sister. Our second sister is very sensitive. She's known for a while now. She did all that to get you to reconcile. Sis, I used to hate him too, for letting you down. But now that I think about it, Ernest is much better than Kyle. Are there perfect people in this world? I don't know, but whatever you decide, I'll support you. By the way, Mika publicly apologized. A light drizzle started to fall outside. The air in the car was so still it felt like it was solid. Maybe because of the agitation. Maybe because of the memories. My head ached. My body hurt. Even my eyelids hurt. I didn't know how long we had been driving when Ernest suddenly pulled over to the side of the road. I turned to him groggily, and a hand suddenly touched my forehead. Ernest's brow furrowed in worry, his face full of concern. Cherry, you have a fever. Chapter 25. It turned out I did have a fever. Yes. My health has never been strong since the incident at the skewer shop and taking care of Mom. How many nights have I barely slept? I can't quite remember. In my haziness, Ernest seemed to have taken me to the hospital. It felt like all my strength had been drained. I only knew I was being carried and put down. Then carried again. People around me were talking, and a nurse seemed to be giving me an injection, asking Ernest, "Are you her family?" Ernest replied, "Yes. I'm her husband." I tried to speak but found I couldn't make a sound. When I woke up again, I found myself back in the home I used to share with Ernest. I was lying in the bedroom bed, and Ernest was lying beside me. I wanted to call him, but I had no strength. 2 more days passed in a blur before my fever finally subsided a bit, and I woke up feeling more alert. Ernest was still lying beside me, hearing movement. He immediately lifted his head, his eyes bloodshot. "Does it hurt anywhere?" He touched my forehead and then reached for an ear thermometer. I shook my head. He helped me sit up to drink some water, and I said, "Take me home." He silently opened a box of medicine. "Ernest, you're not well yet. Barbara is still back home. You can't be alone." He handed me a pill. "I'll take care of you until you fully recover. Get some rest. The doctor said you need to rest well." With that, he turned to leave. "Have you not slept for 3 nights?" I asked. He paused but didn't turn around. "No, I slept. Your eyes are bloodshot, and your eyelids are wrinkled. Over the years, this only happens when you stay up several nights in a row," I said softly. He froze. The next second, he suddenly rushed over and hugged me tightly. My neck felt a small patch of dampness. After a long time, I heard him say, "Honey, please come back, okay?" I was silent for a moment, then said softly, "Ernest, you're just not used to me not being around." "No." He cupped my face and kissed me desperately. "I love you. I really love you, Ernest." I pushed him away with effort. "Don't do this." He pressed his forehead to mine. I'm sorry, but I really don't know what to do. Cherry." He stroked my hair repeatedly, his voice pained. "We love each other. Love. I did love him before. Even now, everyone tells me he's good, that we should get back together. If he had told me I love you back then, how happy I would have been. I should be happy. Why? Why does my heart feel like it's filled with countless needles? Blocking it? Calm. Yet it hurts. And it feels awful." Chapter 26. When I woke up early the next morning, I touched my forehead and found that my fever had completely gone. I checked my phone and saw a missed call from Richard. I called him back. "Boss, I'm on annual leave and have been at the shop these past few days." Richard's voice carried a hint of concern. "I wanted to discuss the new plan with you, but Barbara hasn't returned, and you haven't been around either. I had a fever the past few days." "What? Was it serious? Are you okay now?" "I'm fine. All better now." I smiled. "I'll come by the shop today to see you." As I put down the phone and turned around, I saw Ernest standing in the bedroom doorway, wearing an apron. After a moment of silence, I spoke first. "I'll be leaving soon." He was quiet for a moment, then walked over and gently touched my forehead. I slightly recoiled. His hand froze in midair. "It's still early. Get some more rest. I'll make breakfast." Chapter 27. When I got up, Ernest was in the kitchen. On the dining table was a bottle of my favorite, hard-to-find juice. Walking to the living room window, I quietly watched the people and scenery below, feeling a mix of emotions. There was a loud bang from the kitchen, startling me. I quickly ran to see what had happened and found Ernest, wearing gloves, looking at a tray of burnt food with a helpless expression. He turned around, hearing me, his eyes filled with frustration. I was trying to bake you some sweet potatoes, but I paused. It's okay, I was about to leave anyway. Cherry. He removed his gloves and hurriedly grabbed my hand. I remembered there's an old man selling baked sweet potatoes at the gate of the community these days. He pleaded, I'll go buy some for you. Please wait for me. Don't leave. He forced a smile and added, Isn't it strange? People still sell baked sweet potatoes these days. Just like when we were in school. Ernest, I'll be back in 5 minutes. His eyes reddened. Cherry. 5 minutes. After Ernest went downstairs, I stood by the window, watching below. I knew he wouldn't be back in 5 minutes, because Mika was standing down there. I watched her tug on his sleeve, begging desperately, watched her rush into his arms, and saw her faint in his embrace. At first, he resisted, but then he panicked and quickly carried her away, not even noticing his phone falling to the ground. I took out my phone and sent Ernest a message before turning to leave. Ernest, you see, I knew it. You will never be able to push her away, even if, as you said, you might have already fallen for me, truly fallen in love with me. You still can't push her away. When I agreed to let you go downstairs to buy sweet potatoes, I had already anticipated this outcome. This is why I will never be with you again. Chapter 28. After leaving Ernest's place, I first went home to organize the materials I had prepared to discuss with Richard. By the time I arrived at the skewer shop, it was already evening. I stood outside the shop, looking through the window and saw Richard sitting at a table by the window, resting his chin on his hand while watching the screen. He had attracted the attention of several passing girls who were taking pictures of him. I knocked on the glass. He turned his head in surprise, but when he saw me, his surprise turned into joy. Once inside, I sat across from him. I thought you weren't going to come, he said. I smiled. Why wouldn't I? I promised you, didn't I? I took out the materials. What are you working on? He replied, writing code. Don't lie to me. I watched you for a long time from outside. You were clearly daydreaming while watching pandas eat bamboo. He suddenly laughed. I tilted my head, looking at him. What is it? Nothing. I just suddenly felt. Felt what? A bit happy. Chapter 29. I didn't know what made Richard so happy, but the upgrades Richard made to the mini program were very successful, and business at the skewer shop was booming. My sister took charge of the daily operations at the shop. Someone who used to fall asleep instantly when reading was now working hard to earn a finance-related certification for the sake of the shop. As my sister and I got busier, we discussed and convinced Griselda and Mom to move to the city with Joe. Griselda also started helping with the shop. She was meticulous, so she took on the task of liaising with our suppliers and managing the inventory. Sis, I want a divorce, she suddenly said to me one day after work. I asked her why, and she said that seeing how hard my sister and I worked made her want to pursue something more in life. Living like this for the rest of my life isn't impossible, but it seems meaningless. Later, I resigned from my corporate job and dedicated myself entirely to the shop. Richard also quit his job, and together we created a new marketing plan for the skewer shop and renovated the interior. My years of experience in marketing, combined with Richard's internet savvy and creativity, proved to be a winning combination. The skewer shop became a hotspot, attracting daily crowds and many influencers. Soon, we opened a second branch. We encountered various difficulties along the way, but we overcame them together. On the opening day of our 5th branch, Richard and I sat in Riverside Park, drinking beer and looking at the dark river. When I first came to your skewer shop, it was the lowest point of my life. My work of 3 years was deliberately stolen by someone else, who then received awards, promotions, and raises for my efforts. He took a sip of beer and laughed. I was a golden child growing up, But entering the workforce showed me how cruel the world can be. The company didn't protect me for the sake of profit, and my boss told me to endure it. I walked along the river with my laptop, thinking about my once promising future, with countless thoughts flashing through my mind, both good and bad. Then, I found myself at your skewer shop, wanting to eat something I didn't expect. He looked up, laughing wistfully, that this decision would change the rest of my life. We clinked glasses. Indeed, this small shop changed not only Richard's life but also many others. Programmer, we have 5 shops now. Don't overwork yourself. Take care of your hair. I teased him. He snorted lightly. Don't worry, I'll always be the programmer with the most hair and the best looks. That night, we sat by the river for a long time. Later, I got sleepy and dozed off on his shoulder. He took off his coat and draped it over me. In the cool river breeze, I faintly felt a soft, warm kiss on my forehead. Though light, it filled my heart to the brim. Soon after, Griselda fell in love with one of our suppliers who had been working with us. He liked Griselda and Joe very much. It was clear that he was sincere. Sis, I'm really happy, Griselda said the night before getting their marriage license, leaning on my shoulder with teary eyes. I always thought I'd live a mediocre life, but now I not only have a career with you but also found love. She said, sis, being in love is wonderful, she added, but I'll never be a housewife again. I'll keep working at the shop and even want to earn a certification. My sister continued to be her usual self, uninterested in the boys who admired her. I think money is more appealing than men, became her catchphrase. Sheen's mother came to the main shop several times. She knew about our divorce and had scolded Ernest many times. Ernest's father also did something wrong when he was young. She told me the last time she visited, you young people can't tolerate any flaws. But at our age, we understand that not everything is black and white. Ernest didn't commit any fundamental mistakes, did he? Cherry, you two are very compatible and love each other. Moving past this and continuing together would be great. That day, my mom was also at the shop. Having brought us pear syrup she insisted on making. Please help persuade them, Sheen's mother asked my mom. I had always thought my mom wanted me to reconcile with Ernest, but she walked over and simply smiled politely. I respect my daughter's decision and won't interfere. Then she added sincerely, I think you shouldn't interfere either. Let them handle their own matters. Saying this, she gently squeezed my right palm. It tickled a bit but also felt warm. Cherry, your dad and I miss your wontons, Sheen's mother said as she left. I replied, Auntie, I run a skewer shop now and haven't made wontons in a long time. If you want skewers, you're always welcome. She smiled and left without saying anything more. The last time I saw Ernest was at Griselda's wedding. Richard and I were sitting at the entrance, registering the wedding gifts. Ernest came alone as a guest on the groom's side. We made eye contact, and he nodded, congratulating me. I took the red envelope and thanked him. That was all. It's a small world, Richard said softly after Ernest walked in. Does it bother you? I asked him seriously. He shook his head and smiled. I'm not petty about people from the past. After the wedding, I was playing with Joe and the balloons on the wedding stage when I looked up and saw Ernest. He stood alone at the entrance of the hall, staring blankly in our direction, not having left yet. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Richard. I looked at him standing just a meter away and gave him a puzzled look. He raised his eyebrows slightly, unable to hide his smile. I unlocked my phone to find he had sent me the monthly revenue and order volume. We broke the record again. I think we can open a few more branches, he said, walking up to the stage with a smile. The lights on the stage were dazzling. This moment belonged to us. I smiled back. Okay,